All right, let's dive right into something truly fascinating today. We're going on an incredible journey through ancient Vedic wisdom, specifically exploring the Śrīmad Bhagavatam. We are looking at Canto 4, Chapter 24, which is famously known as the Chant of Lord Shiva. In this explainer, we are going to cover all 79 verses of this chapter, literally from start to finish without missing a single important detail. So get ready, because we're weaving together ancient kings, intense thousands of years long meditation, mystical encounters, and some seriously deep spiritual philosophy. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. 1. Lineage of the Pracetas. 2. Meeting Lord Shiva. 3. Salutations to the Supreme. 4. Visualizing the divine form. 5. Time and material nature. And 6. Instructions and benedictions. Let's get started. Section 1. Lineage of the Pracetas. To set the stage, in verses 1 through 13, the sage Maitreya meticulously lays out this epic royal dynasty. He traces the prestigious lineage all the way down from the great King Prthu. We see the crown pass to his son, Vijataswa, who is also known as Antardana, then it goes to Havardhana, and down to King Bharaset. Now, Bharaset was incredibly skilled in ritualistic sacrifices and yoga. He ended up marrying a beautiful princess named Satadrati, and together they had 10 sons. These 10 brothers are really unique because they all observed the exact same vows, they were deeply rooted in religious principles, and together they are known as the mighty Pracetas. This brings us to verses 14 and 15, and honestly, this is where it gets kind of wild. The 10 Pracetas are ordered by their father to marry and beget children, basically to populate the world. But the brothers realize that before taking on such a massive, heavy, worldly responsibility, they absolutely need some serious spiritual purification. So, what do? They literally enter the depths of the ocean to perform intense austerity and meditation. And they don't just do this for a weekend, they do it for 10,000 years. Talk about a deep dive for self-discovery, right? It's just this astounding display of dedication to self-realization before jumping into worldly duties. Moving right along to section 2, meeting Lord Shiva. In verses 16 through 19, Vidura, who is the one actually listening to this whole history, is completely captivated. He essentially stops the sage Maitreya in his tracks and asks, wait, hold on. How exactly did the Pracetas meet Lord Shiva on their path, and what did he say to them? You see, Vidura knows that meeting Lord Shiva is incredibly rare. It's a hugely fortunate event for any embodied soul. I mean, even the greatest sages meditate for lifetimes, just hoping for an encounter like this. So Maitreya answers him in verses 20 through 25, and he paints this remarkably vivid picture. As the brothers were traveling westward toward the ocean, they stumbled upon this massive, pristine lake. The text says its waters were as clear as the mind of a great soul. It was filled with vibrant blue and red lotuses, echoing with the sounds of swans, cranes, and humming bees. And then suddenly, accompanied by the beautiful sounds of heavenly musicians, Lord Shiva himself emerges right out of the water. He has a glowing complexion like molten gold, a blue throat, 3 eyes, and this profoundly merciful, smiling face. Naturally, the Pracetas were instantly struck with awe and just bowed down. Lord Shiva, who is known as a great protector of religion, speaks to them in verses 26 through 32. He tells them he already knows exactly why they're there, and he's deeply pleased with them. Why? Simply because of their devotion. He makes this amazing statement that any person who is completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva or Krishna, is exceptionally dear to him. It's a powerful reminder that pure devotion is the ultimate equalizer here. Because the Pracetas are pure devotees, Shiva considers them as dear to him as the Supreme Lord himself. And out of his immense compassion, Shiva offers to teach them a sacred, liberating mantra. This brings us to section 3, Salutations to the Supreme. Covering verses 33 through 43, Lord Shiva begins his actual prayer, which is famously known as the Rudra-gita. What's really interesting here is how methodically Shiva offers his respects. He doesn't just throw out a general prayer. He specifically addresses the 4 primary expansions of the Supreme Lord, recognizing their distinct divine energies. He honors Vasudeva, the peaceful, self-illuminated core. Then Sankarshana, the subtle, limitless destroyer at the end of time. He honors Pradyumna, representing universal intelligence. And finally, Aniruddha, the controller of the mind and senses. Shiva is honoring the Lord as the source of all elements, all life forces, and the ultimate gateway to total liberation. Next up is section 4, Visualizing the divine form. In verses 44 through 53, the text truly comes alive. Shiva asks the Lord to reveal his most beloved form, the exact form that perfectly captures the meditation of his devotees, and he describes it meticulously. Imagine a complexion as beautiful as a dark, luminous rain cloud, 4 graceful arms, and eyes resembling the soft petals of a blooming lotus. He describes garments glowing bright like yellow lotus pollen, the sparkling Kaustubha gem resting on the Lord's neck, and a brilliant golden belt. Shiva explains that meditating on these exquisite physical attributes, right down to the Lord's lotus feet, which literally dispel the darkness of the heart, is the ultimate method for purifying the soul. Okay, moving into section 5, time and material nature. So looking at verses 54 through 64, we get this stark, intense contrast between 2 realities. On one side, you have the eternal Supreme Lord, fearless, permanent, the ultimate sanctuary that self-realized souls seek above anything else. But on the other side, you have the material world, completely driven by time. And for all of us navigating today's world, it's a pretty humbling reality check. The material sphere is temporary, it inherently creates fear, and ultimately it dismantles everything we try so hard to build here, just like a swift wind scattering clouds. Shiva emphasizes that unless you take shelter of the eternal, you are constantly at the mercy of this destructive force. To really drive this point home, in verses 65 through 68, Shiva uses what I think is one of the most striking analogies in the entire explainer. He compares time, Kala, to a hungry snake licking its lips, staring down a distracted mouse. Imagine it. The mouse is just running around trying to enjoy a few scraps of food, totally oblivious to the fact that death is literally right behind it, ready to strike. Shiva points out that for those who are distracted, greedy, and completely absorbed in temporary material enjoyments, time strikes suddenly and relentlessly. The takeaway? An intelligent person anchors themselves to the eternal Lord, not to temporary illusions. Finally, we reach section 6, instructions and benedictions. Let's look at verses 69 through 74, where Shiva gives the Pracetas a highly practical, step-by-step meditation process. He doesn't just leave them hanging with abstract philosophy, he gives them a clear blueprint. Step 1. Execute your prescribed duties, which for them meant ruling and having kids, but do it carefully and without attachment. Step 2. Constantly fix your mind on the Supreme Lord residing in everyone's heart. And step 3. Chant this specific prayer, the Rudra-gita, constantly with great attention and reverence. Shiva actually notes that this exact prayer was previously spoken by Lord Brahma to his own sons, so it carries this ancient proven weight. So why do all this? The crucial payoff is found in verses 75 through 79. Here, Shiva lists the incredible spiritual benefits promised to anyone who faithfully chants or even just listens to this prayer. He guarantees that such a person will achieve the ultimate goal of life, effortlessly crossing over the vast, treacherous ocean of material existence. It fulfills all desired spiritual benedictions, and perhaps most importantly, it frees the soul from the endless binding cycle of karma. Shiva tells the princes to chant this with a completely one-pointed mind, assuring them that if they do, their ultimate success is absolutely guaranteed. Well, we've done it. We've traversed the complete narrative arc of all 79 verses of this extraordinary chapter, from the lineage of ancient kings down to the depths of the ocean and straight into the mind of Lord Shiva himself. The Rudra-gita leaves us with a stark yet incredibly empowering reality. Think about it. If the relentless snake-like force of time eventually consumes all of our material achievements, our relationships, and our worldly titles, what eternal truth will you choose to anchor your mind upon today? Let that question sit with you as you continue your own journey of focused learning. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer.
Usually, we think of time as a passive background hum, right? Like a clock on the wall or a calendar on our phone. It's just this completely neutral tool we use to organize our day.
Yeah, we treat it like an empty container. You just, pour your life into it, and the container itself doesn't really matter at all.
Right. But then you step into the worldview of these ancient yogic texts. Specifically, we're looking at the Srimad Bhagavatam today, Canto 4, chapter 24, and suddenly, time isn't a clock at all. Time is described as a snake.
A snake, yeah.
Silently stalking a mouse, ready to strike the very microsecond you let your guard down and, get distracted by the cheese.
It entirely reframes the physics of our existence. I mean, time goes from being passive to being this incredibly dangerously active force.
Yeah.
If your consciousness is completely distracted by material attachments, well, that snake is going to eat you.
And learning how to engage with the world without getting eaten by that snake is basically what we are decoding today. So welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Okay, let's unpack this. We are looking at 79 highly detailed verses today, and they present a blueprint for surviving the chaos of worldly responsibility. But the context for this isn't some monk hiding in a cave. It begins at the absolute pinnacle of political power, right? With an emperor named Vishnu.
Exactly. So Vishitasa inherits this massive global empire from his father, the famous King Prthu.
Okay.
But his approach to supreme power is just fascinating. Because instead of consolidating control like you'd expect, he immediately decentralizes it.
He just gives it away.
He literally divides the earth among his younger brothers. He gives the east to Haryaksa, the south to Dhumrakesa, the west to Vruka, and the north to Dravanasa.
So it's the ultimate delegation.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's really compelling about Vijitasa is like the underlying psychology behind his leadership. He actually acquires a mystic power from Indra, the king of heaven, the power of invisibility.
Right, which earns him the name Antardana.
Antartana, yes. But the mechanism of how he interacts with Indra is what really caught my attention here. Because Indra actually stole a sacrificial horse from him.
He did, yeah.
Yet Antartana knows this and just completely forgives him.
And that forgiveness is absolutely key to understanding his character. I mean, in the logic of this text, his ability to become invisible is it's symbolic of his lack of ego.
Wow, okay.
He doesn't need to be seen. He doesn't need to dominate people. And his family life reflects this really complex spiritual evolution too. He has 3 sons by his wife Sikandini.
That's Pavaka, Pavamana, and Susi.
Right.
I want to dig into those 3 sons for a second, actually, because the sources mention they were fire gods in a previous life,
Yes, they were.
cursed by a sage named Vasistha to be reborn into this human royal family. So my question is, why would a fire god need to be reborn as a human to attain yoga? That seems like a demotion.
Well, it looks like a demotion, but because being a cosmic administrator like a fire god is an incredibly outward-facing elemental duty. It's high status, sure, but it's pure material function.
Yeah.
So Vasistha's curse was actually a mechanism for their spiritual evolution.
Like a blessing in disguise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By forcing them into human bodies, they were given the psychological friction necessary to look inward, practice yoga, and achieve actual spiritual perfection, rather than just, managing cosmic physics.
Managing the universe, yeah. And that friction of management is exactly what ends up driving Antardana away from the throne entirely.
Right.
He has another son, Havardhana, by his wife Nabhasrati, which secures the lineage, and then he just stops.
He said.
He looks at the daily reality of governance collecting taxes, levying fines, inflicting harsh punishments, and he decides the whole system is just fundamentally severe, like it's corrupting his internal compass.
Yeah, the day-to-day grind of it.
So, under the pretext of performing a massive long-term ritual sacrifice called a Durga Satra, he quietly retires. And he ultimately attains liberation by worshiping the Supreme.
It's a really profound commentary on the nature of authority, honestly. He realizes that the mechanics of maintaining absolute power require a level of severity that basically destroys your spiritual empathy.
But I have to challenge this model, is the text suggesting that true spiritual advancement requires completely abdicating your responsibilities?
That's a great question.
I mean, if your job requires you to make tough, sometimes harsh decisions, do you just fake a long-term religious retreat and quit? Because if all the empathetic people walk away from power, we are left with a massive problem.
Right, and that is the exact tension the text is exploring. When Antarhana walks away to preserve his spiritual integrity, he creates a vacuum.
And nature abhors a vacuum.
Historically, yes, nature abhors a vacuum, so the pendulum inevitably swings in the complete opposite direction with his descendants.
Right, because the royal lineage continues through his son Havardhana, and Havardhana's wife gives birth to 6 sons. The most prominent of them is Barhisat, who becomes known as Pracinabarhi.
Pracinabarhi, yeah.
And if his grandfather was the guy who walked away from worldly entanglement, Pracinabarhi is the guy who tries to micromanage the entire planet.
Oh, completely. He is entirely focused on ritualistic duty and worldly expansion. He is so relentless in his massive sacrifices that the text says he literally covered the entire surface of the earth with kusa grass.
The whole Earth.
The whole Earth.
Yeah.
And all of it pointing east.
I mean, talk about an ecological footprint.
Seriously.
It's a metaphor for humanity's attempt to just control nature through rigorous, unyielding protocol. And his personal life is just as grandiose. He marries Satadruti, the daughter of the ocean.
Right.
The sources vividly describe her wedding day. She is adorned with these delicate ankle bells, radiating such intense beauty that Agni, the fire god himself, is captivated by her, just as he once was by a figure named Suki.
It's the symbolic union of absolute opposites, really. You have the fire of ritualistic ambition captivated by the oceanic depth of material nature.
Wow, yeah.
And from that intense union come 10 sons, known collectively as the Pracetas.
And what's bizarre about these 10 brothers is that they operate with a complete hive mind. They all share the exact same name and observe the exact same vows.
Zero individuality.
Zero. There is no individuality at all. And their father, driven by his obsession with expansion, gives them a very direct order. He says, go out, beget children, and exponentially increase the population of the world.
Right, a very standard royal directive.
Yeah.
But their reaction to that command introduces one of the most extreme psychological pivots in the text.
Oh, totally.
In order to populate the earth, the 10 brothers immediately enter the ocean and submerge themselves in a meditation that lasts for 10,000 years.
Okay, I have to pause on the logistics here.
Sure.
Their father says, go start families and run the world. Their response is to walk into the ocean and not come up for 10 millennia. On the surface, that looks like the ultimate avoidance strategy, like it's absolute procrastination.
I mean, it sounds absurd if you view it purely chronologically, but you have to view this underwater isolation as an extreme psychological pressure chamber. They're about to embark on a massive project of worldly creation. If you step into a role of ultimate power with an unpurified ego, you will inevitably create suffering.
You'll become a tyrant.
Exactly, you'll become a tyrant. The 10 millennia of sensory deprivation underwater is a necessary mechanism to completely dissolve their worldly attachments before they ever engage with the world.
So it's like building a skyscraper.
Yeah.
You don't just start stacking steel on the dirt. You spend months digging down, pouring a massive foundation deep underground so that when the structure faces hurricane winds, it doesn't just snap.
It's a perfect analogy.
But how do you survive that kind of pressure? What anchors the mind for 10,000 years of sensory deprivation?
Well, that brings us to the encounter they had just before they entered the water. The original narrator of the text, Maitreya, is explaining this history to a listener named Vidura.
Right.
And Vidura asks the obvious question: how did these princes obtain the spiritual technology to survive this? And Maitreya reveals that as the brothers were traveling west to begin their mission, they found a vast, incredibly pure lake.
And the environment here is described as a sensory masterpiece. It's filled with blue and red lotuses, singing birds like swans and cranes, humming bees, and there's this ambient sound of heavenly drums, the mridangas.
And out of this tranquil lake emerges Lord Shiva himself.
Wow.
Accompanied by his musicians. His visual presence is striking. He appears golden with his signature blue throat and 3 eyes. And Vidura makes a point of noting how incredibly rare it is for embodied souls people still operating in the material world to encounter Shiva.
Right, because Shiva usually wanders the world completely self-satisfied, right?
Yeah.
Just seeking the spiritual benefit of others.
Very reclusive, yeah.
I'm struggling with Shiva's role here, though. He is traditionally known as the god of destruction, but in this scene, he's acting like a compassionate guru handing out a cheat code for liberation. What is the mechanism behind that shift? Why is the destroyer helping them build a foundation for creation?
Because we misunderstand what Shiva is actually destroying. He isn't just breaking physical objects, he dismantles illusion.
Oh, interesting.
When he sees these 10 princes preparing to take on massive worldly responsibility, he is deeply pleased by their character. He wants to destroy their potential for ego before it can even take root.
Before it starts.
Exactly. He tells them right away that anyone surrendered to Vasudeva, the Supreme Lord, beyond the 3 modes of material nature, is incredibly dear to him.
He actually lays out the entire cosmic hierarchy to put their duties into perspective, doesn't he?
He does.
He explains that if a person performs their worldly duty perfectly for 100 consecutive births, they can attain the administrative post of Brahma, the creator.
Right.
If they go beyond even that, they can reach the level of Shiva. But a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord bypasses all of that bureaucratic karma and goes straight to the spiritual world.
Which is a profound display of humility. I mean, Shiva is telling them, don't aim for my position. Devotees of the Supreme are as dear to me as the Lord himself.
Yeah.
And out of immense compassion, he hands them a specific mantra, a prayer, to chant while they are submerged. This song is the Rudra-gita.
And this song is essentially a map of divine consciousness. Shiva begins by offering obeisances to the self-realized soul, and then he systematically breaks down the vastness of the Supreme Lord through 4 specific expansions.
Right.
Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha.
Let's unpack the cognitive ladder of those 4 expansions, because they
Yeah.
really represent how the mind approaches the infinite.
Okay, let's hear it.
So Vasudeva represents the baseline of absolute peace and subtle senses.
Right.
Then Sankarsana pushes the mind to grasp the infinite, the uncontainable. Pradyumna is the awakener, forcing the inner soul to recognize that reality. And finally, Aniruddha is the master of the senses, bringing that profound purity back down into how you actually interact with the physical world.
So it's a closed-loop system for the mind.
Exactly.
And Shiva praises the Lord as the source of all functional reality. He calls the divine the doorway to heaven, the golden semen of creation, the master of all sacrifices, and the provider of food and nectar for all living beings.
Yeah, he points to the cosmic elements too: space, wind, fire, and the radiant heavenly planets. The Lord is the master of both fruitive work, doing things for result, and the path of renunciation.
So he encompasses every possible avenue of human endeavor.
Everything.
But here's where the text gets incredibly provocative. Shiva praises the divine as the source of heaven and nectar, but then he explicitly praises the Supreme as the source of death, as sorrow, as the fulfiller of material desires, the master of the 3 energies, and the origin of ego, mind, and speech.
Right.
Why are ancient yogis praising the divine as the architect of our ego and our sorrow? I mean, in modern pop spirituality, aren't we constantly told that the ego is the enemy and sorrow is just a mistake?
Yeah, we hear that constantly. And that is precisely where this text diverges from modern superficial spirituality. It presents a fiercely non-dualistic framework.
Okay.
If the Supreme is the absolute source of everything, it cannot just be the source of the things we find comforting.
Right.
Ego is not a mistake. It is a divine tool for individuation. It's the operating system that allows you to interact with the world. The trap only occurs when you forget the source of the operating system and start believing you are the software.
Wow. So, to achieve true fearlessness, you can't cherry-pick your universe.
No, you can't.
You have to recognize the divine hand in the comforting nectar, but also in the terrifying reality of death and sorrow.
Exactly, because if you understand that even death and sorrow are just energies of a perfect supreme system, they completely lose their power to induce panic. You just stop fighting the reality of the universe.
Which leads to a really fascinating pivot in Shiva's song. After praising these vast abstract concepts, elements, mind, time, he suddenly shifts to a hyper-specific visualization exercise. He tells the princes to meditate on a very distinct physical form.
And that transition from the abstract infinite to a structured form is crucial.
He prays to see the Lord's form as dark, like a rain cloud, possessing 4 arms, lotus eyes, beautiful eyebrows, and a smiling glance.
They're very visual.
Very. He mentions yellow silk garments, a shining crown, and 4 specific items held in the hands: a conch, a disc, a club, and a lotus. He even describes a deep navel that symbolically draws in the entire universe, a golden belt, and feet that resemble autumn lotus petals, designed to dispel the darkness of ignorance.
It's incredibly detailed.
But I have to ask, if the ultimate reality is this vast force that creates time and space, why meditate on a specific bodily form with accessories? Isn't enlightenment about transcending physical shapes?
Well, you would assume so, yeah. But this tradition intimately understands the limitations of human psychology.
Okay.
You cannot easily anchor your mind on the abstract infinite. I mean, try meditating on everything for 10 seconds, and your mind will immediately wander to what you're having for lunch.
Guilty. Yeah.
Right. The mind requires a focal point.
Right.
So meditating on this specific, detailed form acts as a highly advanced cognitive technology. It concentrates the mind's scattered energy into a single, pure frequency.
And the results of that concentration are absolute, according to the text. Shiva states clearly that devotion to this form grants total fearlessness.
Total fearlessness.
The text literally says that even death personified here as Kritanta, who destroys the entire universe with a mere click of his eyebrows, does not even touch those who take shelter of this form.
Wow.
And the community surrounding this practice is so potent that half a moment's association with a pure devotee outweighs the benefits of heaven or ultimate liberation.
Because that association reinforces the reality that the Lord is Brahman, the supreme light spreading like the sky, creating and destroying through his energy of Maya without ever being affected by it.
Right, but then the text introduces the stark reality of time, Kala. The sources say the Lord is also supreme time, moving swiftly like a fierce wind destroying clouds. Or, returning to that visceral metaphor from earlier, time is like a snake catching a mouse. It suddenly strikes the inattentive, the greedy, and those deeply attached to their material lives. So how do we reconcile the smiling, lotus-eyed form with the snake eating the mouse?
It's all about consciousness.
Huh.
By understanding that the ultimate reality is singular, but your experience of it depends entirely on your consciousness.
Oh, I see.
To the surrendered devotee who has let go of attachment, the divine force arrives as that beautiful, comforting form.
Right.
But to the materially attached person, the person desperately hoarding wealth and ignoring their spiritual reality, that exact same divine force arises as Kala.
As time.
It arises the sudden, unstoppable force of time that just rips away everything they tried to control.
So the wise men and the leaders of the universe, known as the 14 Manas, understand this physics. The text says they never leave the shelter of his lotus feet because they know that fighting time on its own terms is just impossible.
Exactly. Which brings Shiva to his final instructions for the princes. He concludes the Rudra-gita by confirming that the Lord is the ultimate refuge from fear, even for himself.
Even for Shiva.
Yes, even Rudra takes shelter there. His practical advice is simple. Chant this prayer, perform your worldly duty, and keep your mind fixed on Hari.
And he reveals the incredible lineage of this specific prayer. He didn't just compose it by the lake.
No.
This exact mantra was originally taught by Lord Brahma, the architect of the universe, to the sage Bhrigu and the Prajapatas, the lords of creation.
It's an ancient spiritual protocol, passed down to those tasked with building the world to ensure they don't fall into the illusion of their own creations. The text describes this knowledge beautifully as a boat to cross the ocean of sorrow.
A boat, I love that. Shiva promises that whoever recites this song with faith pleases Hari and achieves their true desires. Specifically, hearing or chanting it at dawn breaks all karmic bonds.
Which is exactly what the Pracetas needed.
Right, this is the exact tool they needed. It allows them to submerge themselves, build an indestructible psychological foundation, and eventually emerge to rule and populate the world without becoming karmically entangled in the stress of it all.
It is the ultimate formula for being in the world, actively shaping it without being consumed by it.
This text demands that we look at the immense complexity of our lives through a completely different lens. I mean, we started with Emperor Antartana, who walked away from governance because the severity of it compromised his soul.
Right.
Then we saw the pendulum swing to Pracinabarhi, who tried to control the earth through endless rituals and micromanagement.
Cover the earth in grass.
Exactly. And finally, we watched the 10 Pracetas find the middle path, using the profound technology of the Rudra-gita to prepare their minds to handle absolute power without ego.
It proves that true worldly responsibility requires an even deeper spiritual anchor.
And that is what I want to leave you, the listener, thinking about today. We live in an attention economy that demands instant reactions. We want immediate results, quick fixes, and constant outward motion. We absolutely hate waiting.
Oh, we hate it.
But imagine the 10,000 years the Pracetas spent in the silent, crushing pressure of the ocean before they ever began their life's actual work. If you had to isolate yourself from all distractions to prepare for your greatest responsibility, what core truth, what mantra, or what vision would you repeat to yourself to ensure you didn't lose your soul when you finally had to surface and face the world?
That's a huge question.
It is. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.